Oh, wow. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Mr. Sims.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, we'll just go with it. Good evening. I think these things are on. There we go. Just for a show of hands, how many of you were here for the last meeting for the RDC? What? Okay, so you know how that went, but we're going to still go through this. In the back, when you came in, I do not have Mr. Jable, nor do I have the Commissioner's Attorney who had a lot of information in regards to the process. So what I had done is I made a sheet like this made out for the process. Those of you who were here at the last meeting understood the process. We went over it fairly well. You have a copy of it, and there's still back there by that little podium where it's on the 22, and it explains the process. So rather than go through that and read through the process, seeing how a lot of you were here, take it home, it's enjoyable reading, get a nice fire going, some milk and cookies, and you should have a good time. Now, with that being said, normally, what we speak on at the end of the meeting is we speak on those items that are on the agenda only. But one of the things that I can do is I can change the agenda. And after seeing the last meeting, and thank you to the crowd that was here earlier, and what we're going to do is at the end of the meeting, when it comes time to speak, the data center is not on the agenda, but you are going to get a chance to speak. I know there were several of you who didn't get to speak in the last meeting, and I want you to be heard. We all do, as a matter of fact. As you usually saw in the last meeting, we want to be very transparent with you. The only thing I want to say is that, unlike the city of Valparaiso, their county council handles two areas: the legislative, which does ordinances, and the fiscal, which handles the checks. The county is a little bit different. The commissioners, this young lady standing up right now, our residents, one of our commissioners, they handle the legislative. They do the ordinances. They say what goes what, where, when, and who takes care of what buildings. We, the council, handle the fiscal. We write out the checks for those who need it. Okay? That's our primary responsibility. So if this data center thing was a 1 to 20 step process, we are step 20 with the very last thing you're going to come to. But we want to hear what you have to say now. Okay? And rest assured that you have questions. Some of you know that from what I said earlier, that I got some phone calls late at night. Many of us got emails that we've answered. A lot of you, everyone that I've gotten, and I know Mr. Bozak did, as well as Commissioner Biggs. We responded to everybody who wrote us. A lot of you I called. So with that being said, what you have to say is very important to us. It really is. This is why we're going to have you, for those who want to speak about the data center. And let's say the majority are here because you're not for it. I know I'm quick that way. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with our agenda.
Mr. President, I have a question. Is this meeting being recorded and are we live now?
That's a good question, Joy.
We are not live, but it is being
It is being recorded, but we are not live. We are Memorex. So
I would like to make sure that going forward, or make a motion that we are always live on this board. We need to be live. I've brought that up multiple times. It's kind of the first discussion we had about it, and it's just Joy needs help being shown how to be live. We need to get our IT director involved, and he needs to be at our meetings, so make sure that we're at live every meeting.
that's a very good suggestion, sir. So are you making a motion?
Motion made.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Auditor over there, Auditor, Lead Auditor, is this something that requires a voice vote or a roll call?
I am not the auditor,
I mean,
and
but-
we didn't do a roll call yet, so.
Oh, I apologize, sir. We haven't even, technically, we'll be here. Now, may I get a roll call, please?
Andy Bozak.
Present.
Michelle Harris. Red Stone.
Here.
Andy Vasquez.
Here.
Mike Rickner.
Here.
Greg Sims.
Present.
Jeremy Rivas.
Here.
6 present.
Okay. Now, we're gonna digress a little bit here.
I would like to make a motion that all of our meetings going forward are live streamed on the internet.
I'll second that.
And Mr. Wishinsky, who's not our auditor, the course of this would be, or Mr. Harper?
I would do a roll call, it can't hurt.
Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Red Stone.
Yes.
Andy Boswell.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Okay, we will get to the IT office and we will do our very best by the next time we have a county council meeting or ordinance any meeting, that he can soon get there. But definitely next county council meeting will be live as well as recorded, folks. Okay, moving on to business.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for November 1st.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. First reading, sir.
The following appropriations have been brought before you for your consideration. General fund overtime, $50,150. Overtime, $50,150. Lit, interfund transfer, $650,000. Interfund transfer, $200,000. MVH, bituminous, $200,000. Inmate processing, medical life insurance, $8,832. Foundation holding, interfund transfer, $850,000. Sheriff block grant, transfer funds, $100,300. First reading.
George, you have 2 sets of minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was going to motion to approve that.
October 22nd, I was going to say November and October 22nd, by the way.
Second.
I have a motion second. Can I get a roll call on that?
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Andy Boswell.
Yes.
Michelle, or Red Stone.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our special presentation, I believe he's here somewhere in the audience, Mr. Chris Lieutenant. Just please stand if you'd be so kind, sir. I'd like to introduce real quick to our council and for many of you who are here. This is our Veteran Service Officer. He's in charge of the Veterans Program. Mr. Edwin C. has left us to other endeavors, and Mr. Molchan is taking, for those of you who are veterans like myself, probably served in the United States Marine Corps, just thought I'd throw that out there. But if you're a veteran, please see Mr. Molchan if you have needs. Sir, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
The other special presentation I'd like to mention was that we had an opioid committee that we met for the GAT grant, and myself, Greg Sims, Commissioner Regnitz, Maggie Wishlinsky, and Jesse Harper, don't want to forget Jesse, very kind part there. We had met together and we came up with a process, and we had it put out there by the county website to put in for some money with any program that would help toward the easing of drugs or helping to overcome this. And we had 5 recipients, and they were the Caring Place, got $40,000. Moon School, $10,000, the Moran House, $25,000, Portage Recovery Association, $25,000, and 320 Recovery. Commissioner Records, if you'd like to approach the microphone, give a little bit of information, please.
The way we did this at the commissioners' meeting is each recipient got less than a minute to just explain a little bit about what they're doing. Would you like them to say anything, or would you just?
I would rather than come up and,
Okay.
so the people out there know exactly what the grant money and basically their money is going to, and how these dedicated people work within the community. If you'd be so kind. You got 60 seconds, but go.
You're gonna give me a live mic?
Wait,
Hey, see, great.
You're gonna give me a live mic?
That could be dangerous.
Talk about helping people with recovery, man, you're gonna have to cut me off at 60 seconds to boost my life. I'm the executive director, Board of Recovery Association, just got that promotion yesterday, which is pretty cool. Don't blame the shirt, it's my first day on the job. But we want to build something in the city of Portage that anyone seeking asylum from alcoholism, addiction, any kind of domestic abuse, homelessness can come to for a safe haven. We want to offer a resource center, we want to offer a gymnasium area, a library, recreation as far as volleyball courts, and some of this money would go towards administrative costs and labor and materials as well. But we want to have this Recovery World project off the ground as soon as we get the okay from you guys. We're ready to roll starting tomorrow and get this thing going, and we have a solid plan. I think it's going to be successful.
Is the coffee thing still, that's still going on, right? The thing we started last year?
So we got a donation from Northwest Health last year. It's a 15,000 square foot building. So we combined the PRA and our cafe into one building. It's like 4 times the size of the cafe area. It's huge.
Yeah, you guys are doing some great work in the community. Thank you.
Can't do it without you. Thank you.
The next contestant, please step up and state your name.
I am Alan Rasula, Executive Director at Free Fund Recovery in Chesterton. First of all, thank you all for this support. This means a lot, especially where the funds are coming from, so thank you for that. What we plan on doing is continuing to offer multiple pathways to recovery. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. At our facility, we have a fitness area, we have a great cooking, nutrition class, we've got art, music, we've got a faith night, and so this funding really does help us continue with those initiatives, so thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Jessica Luke. I'm the president and CEO of the Caring Place. Most of you know us as a domestic violence shelter, but we have for a couple of years now also worked with women in recovery. We've seen the correlation and the success with the services that we provide for our women in recovery and for our women trying to start their lives over, and it really has been a successful fight, and we're really excited about this money because we do feel like we have created a plan that is sustainable and supportive to really help people make big changes in their lives with therapeutic services, job assistance, all kinds of really great stuff. So this is a big deal for us, and we're so thankful for your support, and we are not going to let you down.
Jessica, what does this money fund? Is it a year of the program, or?
So what we have done is we have created this program a couple years ago with Porter Stark, and what we recognized is having a full-time recovery director that's going to help with that. So we have weekly case management with our clients. We do medically supported case management. We really have improved the services that we're providing, and they can stay in our care for up to 2 years. So that really increases the chance of success for them, and so it pays for just some of the basic stuff like all of our food and that stuff. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is Chelsea here from Newland School Corporation? At any rate, we awarded her $10,000 to expand in-school programming and resources within the Department of Teaching and Learning's Drug Deferment Program and Peer Mentoring Mental Health Programs. And is Michael O'Connor here from Marine House? At any rate, one of the things that they really want to do is there are a number of rooms in the men's sober living home that are in desperate need of sprucing up and renovation, and they had requested a lot more, and this is what we felt that we could award them this year, and we're hoping that you will also consider awarding them as well.
Commissioner Redmond, you said awarding this year. How long is the grant for?
This is for 1 year.
For 1 year, that means the whole program, that grant, how long will it go till?
Oh, so our funding will last through 2038.
So there's other organizations out there next year, and this is a yearly thing that they
Yes.
can apply to.
Yes.
So for those of you out there in the audience, if you know a program that we are somehow falling short-sighted of, please let them know this, that Next year is when, January?
Well, the applications will be available January 1st, but since the different commissioners and council have reorganization in January, that committee won't start out their work until February, and everything will be off by 1 month next year. So, but still, we'll be absolutely accepting applications at that point.
Well, thank you. And so the council,
This already has the commissioners?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unanimously on every single one of them.
and so I'd like to get a voice,
Make a
I need a motion
motion,
first.
I make a motion to approve all 5 of these for a total of $125,000.
Second?
we got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
I almost said aye.
Thank you.
Sounds good, thank you.
Next up is, Director Lee Childers. Just a little handshake here, we'll get back to business.
Thanks, sir.
We have a transfer of $1,500 from, 45,100 data processing equipment to 32,100 travel. The reason being, transfer needs to send an employee to P1 conference in Texas for training on sheriff software.
I make a motion to transfer the 1,500 from data processing to 30 to 100.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Just one thing, you heard that, we did make a motion, we've got to be live.
Yeah.
There's already email in your inbox,
Ooh.
scheduled time for it.
Thank you, sir, that is what I would call quick, we appreciate that.
You have a great day.
You do as well. Mr. Kevin Brightsky, surveyor. We have a request, sir, of $9,000 from 11,200 hourly to 11,100 salary. Transfer needed to cover salaries due to job reclassification.
Motion.
Can you get a motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Can you tell us what you're doing?
Pardon?
What are you doing? What are you reclassifying? or-
The party chief will be upgraded from Path A to Path B, and the executive administrative assistant from Common C will be upgraded to Common C from Common E. So their salaries will go up.
Is that because they got certified on something else? Is that how that works?
Experience and just comparatively to the jobs or salary survey that we did,
So-
looking at the salary ordinance, so it's commensurate to.
So it's giving raises?
Pardon?
Is it giving raises?
Well, it's elevating their position, yes.
Why didn't we do that during the budget?
Yes.
We did do it during the budget?
No,
Why?
because at that time, we didn't have the salary ordinance for me to do the comparison of jobs.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Now we're gonna do roll call, and I don't know how many we got here. Need a roll call, please.
We're going to roll call this, Mr. President, transfer first, and then the Form 140 orders together. That's okay with you?
We already had a motion on the transfer.
Yeah, just a motion on the transfer then.
Okay.
All right. Jeremy Rivas,
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
No.
Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
Red Stone.
No.
Andy Bozak.
No.
3-3.
At this time, sir, that is the time, which means
So we'll see you next
we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
I would like to,
Hold on, we're not going anywhere, we can still got 144 to go.
Okay.
Okay.
in order to do the 144, you need to.
Yeah.
We need to pass the other?
Yep, that's
Okay.
I'm not against this, I would like to detail what you're doing and why we're doing it mid-year versus the budget season. So maybe a conversation offline, or telling me what's going
That's
on,
fine.
whatever you're good with.
All right, we sent a letter to all of you.
You did?
Yeah, I sent a letter originally,
Oh, I apologize, I did not properly write it.
but
Any other questions from you, sir, or council? Thank you, sir.
we'll see you next meeting.
See you next time around. Health Department. Public Health Service Fund. Good evening, Karen.
Hello, how are you?
You need to transfer 5,000 from 50,000 distribution to 16,107 to 50,000 distribution, 16,109. Transfer needed from trauma and injury to PC first responder mental health.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Health Immunization Grant Fund. No. Dave, are you going to read each one of these transfers individually?
You can vote it all together.
Just vote them all together, okay, then transfers are as follows: 13,500 from 1,100 hourly to 2,100 on supplies, 23,500 from 11,200 hourly to 24,100 medical and dental, 20,000 from 11,200 hourly to 32,300 postage, and 50,000 from 11,200 hourly to 45,400 other equipment, 4,800 from 1,200 FICA to 3,100 training and education, 17,250 from 1,200 FICA to 3,600 maintenance agreements, the reimbursable grant with period ending 6/30/25 to maximize utility of funding.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? That motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, that's it.
Mr. Blair, how are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you. Positive brainwave.
I love it. We're not talking about salt today.
Please do not look at his shirt, he's trying to influence us. Okay.
By 2 minutes.
Local income tax fund.
Yeah, all three of these have to do with the matching, monies for the CCMG grant.
I believe these were talked about at the, last budget session, were they not, or they were approved?
This was all approved during budget.
Right.
It was already allocated, this is just,
It's allocated.
this is the cash
This is the
for the
funding
allocation.
portion.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
I got a motion to second? Got a second? Any discussion?
No, we gotta move it, we gotta match that money.
And roll call, please.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
6-0.
And I have additional 200,000 to 6,100 interfund transfer.
I make a motion, we transfer the 200,000 to 61,000 transfer fund.
I have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
6-0.
Motor vehicle highway restricted fund. An additional 200,000 to 23,628 for, I always have trouble with this word.
By 2 minutes.
Thank you, folks. By 2 minutes. Interfund transfer from 1173, MVA transfer.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is all the same thing, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
It
Yes,
all
sir.
has to do with the CCMG grant.
But we must follow the procedure, so. I have motion second, any discussion? All in, roll call, please.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Red Stone. Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yeah.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, foundation, holding account fund, additional 850,000 to 6,100.
Move to approve.
Second. Second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
6-0.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
Have a good day.
Porter County Sheriff.
You should wear a shirt like that.
I tried to.
I
I have one in brown.
There you go.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Sheriff, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
We have an addition of $50,100 to $11,300 overtime appropriation needed to restore. Okay. Any discussion, we motion a second.
Just so everyone knows, we reached out to the State Board of Accounts, and on our books, we have a lot of dormant funds. This was one of the dormant funds, and they wanted us to start closing these out and returning them to where they came from. So this is just transferring money that was already on our books in one fund to where now they can actually use it.
What was the dormant fund?
The dormant fund was the sheriff block grant, 8152, and it's been on the books.
Not like the sheriff's.
2017, I believe.
I found it back in 2014.
2014. I would like to thank the auditor's office for going the extra mile and finding this money to help our sheriff's department. We appreciate that number, sure. They're kind of like it.
Oh, I absolutely love it.
Okay. Well, we have a second, motion and a second, and any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jeremy Rivas. Yes. Rex Sims.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Andy Vasquez.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
6-0.
Additional $100,300 to 6,100 fund. This is what we spoke about earlier. This is the money that, and we just want to go through the process.
Make a motion to approve the transfer.
I second.
Excuse me.
Additional motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bozak.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
Vasquez.
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. Moving along to the jail. Jail general fund, additional $50,150 to the overtime, once again, same thing, in regards to the $100,300. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sims.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Bozak. Vasquez.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
6-0.
We have a 4144, jail matron to jail matron/court services coordinator. The reason we named the matron position to jail matron/court service coordinator, no salary change. I like that, thank you.
I make a motion, Mr. President.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have a question, says no, sheriff says no salary changes on the, smart legal plan?
Yeah.
61,000.
So it's a raise.
3,000, is that increase?
Could you repeat that in here?
On the wage, report,
Yeah.
category.
That was 2024, this is 25. You gave increases.
I see.
Yeah.
3% increase.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that came from
The
last
rest of them.
Last year, in October. Yeah.
So it's,
No budget change.
No budget change whatsoever. We do that every time, I'll take it.
all right, thanks.
Well, somebody's, okay. We have a motion and a second, and any more discussion? Can I get a roll call, please?
Vasquez.
Yes.
Bozak.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
6-0.
Thank you. We have an additional $8,832 to 12,200 medical/life. Appropriation needed to cover medical insurance not covered by pre-trial grant fund.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I have a question, sir. Appropriation needs to cover medical insurance not covered by pre-trial grant fund. What exactly does that mean, sir?
Well, I'm hoping Kathy can answer that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The pre-trial grant was not fully funded until after budget season, so we didn't know they weren't going to cover all of the insurance, and I didn't catch it in January, so we just put it on.
You're going to finish this time, right?
I will.
Of course. Okay, I have a motion and a second, and further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bozak.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Brickner.
Yes.
Vasquez.
Yes.
6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may add, those, everyone get the last year printouts for the
Yes, sir.
social work positions and what they did,
We
through
did.
the opioid funding. So, they've done a great job, and I'm going to give a shout out to them publicly on what those two individuals have done to help
people in our county that are struggling with mental health and substance dependency issues and homelessness. So we've done a real good job. I hope you see that it was a good investment. Also, thank you for the overtime appropriations and approvals. Those are going to go to good use. Most of that is going to go to what we talked about at the last meeting about the flex unit and saturated patrols on areas that are going on throughout the entire county. We're already seeing a big benefit from that. We've had several hundred traffic stops and a couple dozen arrests. They're serving warrants. They're helping other jurisdictions with saturated patrols where they have no uptick in certain things. So I commend all of you for doing that.
Thank you.
Sheriff, one question. Is that going to last just the year, or do you plan on moving that into the next year?
Well, I plan on that. Kathy just told me today that I had to make sure that we don't use all of it.
Thank you.
And they're funding a new budget. She's the gatekeeper, all right? No, I plan on that not being used, all of it, and we hopefully can carry a lot of that over into next year, and that'll be wrapped up into the budget.
Okay.
We'd appreciate Councilwoman Harris in the bomb suit or something, wasn't she?
That was the Assistant Police Academy, and I would highly recommend it. If you guys have not been through it, that's a great program, building that community relationship, and...
So your average citizens go through this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it just kind of shows our community members, our citizens, it's open to any community member that wants to do that once a year, and it really just shows what we do and why we do it. So.
Do you demonstrate a taser? Because Amy Bozak would love to be...
Yes, I second that motion.
I would try it.
Our kids will be there to watch. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And the last on our agenda here is Council General Fund, transfer 1,500 to 11,200 hourly.
Make a motion to approve the transfer.
I make a motion to approve all three transfers. I have a motion to approve the $1,595 and $750 from hourly to 2,400. We all three of them, am I mistaken? Okay. Can I get a vote vote on regards to all three items? All in favor? Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Second reading, sir.
Following appropriations have been passed tonight. General fund, overtime, $50,150, overtime, $50,150. Lit, interfund transfer, $650,000, interfund transfer, $200,000. MDH, bituminous, $200,000. Inmate processing, medical life insurance, $8,832. Nation holding, interfund transfer, $850,000. Sheriff Block Grant transfer funds, $100,300, second reading.
Thank you, sir.
To approve.
I have a motion to second. And a second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Brickner.
Yes.
Vasquez.
Yes.
Bozak.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Rivas.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. Mr. Harper, attorney's report, anything to report, sir?
Nothing pressing tonight, and given that there's nothing pressing, I'm not gonna get into anything otherwise, given the number of people that probably want to comment tonight. I don't want to horn in on that time.
Thank you, sir.
And I was going to ask Mr. Harper a question, so I'll do the same. It's about the CCMG grant, the wheel tax, and when we might be forced to pass a wheel tax in 2026, meaning forced. So that should be interesting legislation.
Let's keep that negativity to the next meeting.
Well, it's something we're going to have to talk about, I know.
No, you're right.
It's unfortunate. It's
Our hands being forced by the
I have to pass.
Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Right, so we'll see where that goes. So we can talk about that?
Do you want to talk about that next time around, or you want to?
Yeah, you want to? No, we'll go ahead. We'll do it next month. We got a lot of people here.
Yeah, a lot of people, what do we?
Well, we've got to do the hospital, the ambulance board.
Oh, yeah.
We have to do the appointment for the ambulance board, Mr. President.
Yes, that wasn't done, oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't put on here.
I think
It wasn't put on here because I don't have my glasses on.
It's on the end, I believe.
Yeah. The ambulance committee board appointment, one-year term, we had several people who applied, everybody have that in their packets, please?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Amy Gilbert from Valparaiso. She's a Chesterton Fire Department, been involved for many, many years. I would like to make a recommendation on her. I would also like to make a recommendation that the gentleman from Highland comes, because he says in his application that if he's not appointed, he'd still like to be part. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's not from the county, but,
He does own property, though. He did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. It says in our application, you own a house and/or property in Porter County, and he did underlying property, so.
a lot of experience there, and I'm sure that wealth of knowledge would be helpful to that board.
Yeah, I'll second your.
But mine was Amy Gilbert.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. We have a motion and a second for Amy Gilbert, to be the council appointee to the ambulance committee.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to nominate Randy Wilson to the committee that I don't believe in. So I just don't think this committee really has the authority to do what it's being tasked to do in the resolution. If you look at it and read number 6 of the resolution, it can't engage in negotiating with,
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the commissioner's.
That's commissioner's task, and this tasks this committee with that. This committee would have no authority to enter negotiations. So, I mean, I think that we have to look at ways, better ways, improved ways to provide emergency services in the county. A number of us have been saying that for a while, and nothing's been done. We're up against, time now with the contract expired at the end of the year. I'm not certain that there's many options on the table here, but I think this is, in my opinion, the commissioners passing the buck to a committee that doesn't have the authority to do what needs to be done. So this is just, them passing the buck, passing the responsibility, because ultimately they have to approve the contract. We have to fund it, but.
I thought it was a nice olive branch to get. I mean, since I've been here 2 years, what I've seen is, the council complaining about the commissioners, and now we actually have a voice. Whether you think it's, illegal or, whatever, it's, we do have a voice. Greg's on that, Michelle's on that, we're gonna have a citizen appointment,
Well,
and if they can.
We didn't approve that yet.
Yeah, I think you're on it, right?
Well,
We gotta be on it. We gotta see it, so.
We need to make that motion today.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as the committee moves forward past this year and looks at alternative ways to provide these services, I'm all for that to investigate, not just, what they're gonna probably end up doing is approving a substantially larger contract, probably with the same vendor here, but I believe that we should look at everything, that includes fire territories. So-
Me and you have talked about that at length. Fire, I agree about fire territories and districts, but again, it's, those townships are gonna have to do that for themselves. We can't, tell a township, hey, you're gonna do a fire district, fire territory, it's raising their taxes, we have to have boards set up. It's, it's not our responsibility to do that. Why, I think it would be great if we could establish something like that, or maybe give some type of a, incentive to do that. I think that would be great, but.
I would like to see that the council, or the board, whatever they are, would have tons of options to present, and part of that would be fire territories, ambulance territories, awarding a contract, and maybe a year contract before more discussion can be made down the road. But we definitely know something's got to be done, and I agree with you that hopefully this is a voice to the commissioners to at least hear another side of the story.
Right, me and Jeremy have talked about this at length. I'll give you, an example. We have Liberty, we're District 1 where I live was Liberty in Jackson. Liberty provides the fire for Jackson, and there's about 15,000 people out there. Jackson, Liberty could be, in itself, could be a fire territory, but as long as Jackson supplies the services or as Liberty gives the services to Jackson, it's hard to get done. I guess that's what I'm saying, and, we have to have the township trustees talking, and, different township trustees talking and saying, how can we best provide these services?
So like cities and towns as well, huh?
Same with cities, yeah, but it's.
Commissioner Reagan, are you in the audience still? She had a meeting with the township trustees for economic development, and that would be a good segue for her to bring that up to them while they're all there and discuss this very thing, and maybe council member or two can come to those meetings, and I know I'm usually there, and let's see what they have to say in that regard, because we do need to do something. Gentlemen, they're all correct in that.
Yeah, we're half in, half out. I mean, we cover half the county, and we do that by contracting with a private, business. I'm not sure, that everybody would be okay if all of a sudden we decide to share, we can't cover the whole county, we're not gonna fund it, so privatize half of, the sheriff's department. We've privatized half of the ambulance service in this county. I think we can do a better job at the end of the day, and I don't think the county should be in the business of ambulance service. So I think we gotta find, a way out of the business and, improve it. So, and Valpo led the way on it. Valpo, I don't know, since they had the township and the city, they created a territory a while ago, so Valpo's led the way on this, and
Well, maybe we can with them and see exactly how they did that, and
It's a very touchy subject.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, because each individual township,
You have to have buy-in from the towns, and it's.
Well, not only that, though, see what the other counties throughout the state are doing. How are they operating this? Maybe we can learn from them too, what's efficient, what doesn't work.
that is what actually being done right now, and Councilwoman Harris, who's not here, when we were down in Indianapolis, we got on a system in which we're asking other counties the very same questions, and we're getting emails. I don't know if you got the link sent to you, but I'd love to have the link so that we're all in on the same page, so when you say something, I think you don't have it. Okay, well, I'll make sure before the end of the day that you guys have it. This way we're speaking with one voice. All right? Well, we're back to the subject of the individuals who are, Amy Gilbert, I believe it was.
Yeah, you've got Amy Gilbert and Randy.
And Randy, and I second Randy.
Right. There's two motions.
Okay, we have two motions. We can do this by voice vote, if I'm not mistaken.
I will say, you probably can't go wrong with either one of them.
Well, the other gentleman, he's out of town, or out of county, is he not?
Well, no, the motion they made, he was, Portage Fire Chief, he's.
Randy,
Yeah.
you're talking about Gary.
He's got the experience, like I said, both candidates seem pretty good.
But one of them.
I'm not talking about the Highland guy.
I thought Mr. Harris.
The notion was that maybe have him show up to where.
Yeah, let him know.
So he's an advisor, not an actual member.
Right, in my opinion, let him know when the meetings are, he said he's in.
Well, by all means, the more we got people who have knowledge of this, let's face it, who here is a firefighter? None of us. You want an organic farmer?
I don't like
guy.
blood.
Okay, but a firefighter, let's get people who need to know that for the job. So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I seconded.
You second?
He seconded. Why don't we do a roll call and then?
Let's do a roll call.
We vote for who?
Dave.
Rick,
I'm voting for one of the two.
Gilbert, or Wilkin.
Gilbert.
Gilbert, is what he said.
Vasquez.
Gilbert.
Moser.
Amy Gilbert.
Stone.
Amy Gilbert.
Rivas.
Wilking.
Wilkening.
Ward 2, Amy Gilbert.
And then Mr.
So the
President.
other gentleman I was talking about, from Highland, he, was part owner of he owned an ambulance company for 40 years, 10 years. So just, that's what I'm saying, maybe Joey can send him a letter, maybe send him.
Exactly, send them
Yeah,
see if he
no,
does.
no, we're interested in.
Yeah, which is extra voices, by all means. George? Okay, thank you. Now, it comes down to the council members. We had asked, were asked to have two council members on there, and I had spoken with, Greg Sims, who presently is, doing what exactly?
I'm sorry?
You doing what exactly?
I'm an EMT.
He's an EMT, so there you go, he's got a lot of knowledge. And the other two individuals I asked were, Councilman Stone and, Councilwoman Harris, who happens to be in Paris right now, poor baby, she's suffering.
For a class trip.
Yeah, at least that's what she says. So, and you decided to let her
If
go.
she's not here, we have to we gotta give it to her.
Well, it's her then.
Yeah, well, then she said, all in favor of Councilwoman Harris and, Greg Sims being on the committee, say aye.
Aye. Well, I'll make a motion that, Councilman Sims and Councilwoman Harris are our members, so that's Stone one.
No,
No, okay, did I get a second? Let's just do this all over. Let me second.
I second. Okay, we got a
Okay,
second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same time, opposing, hearing none, welcome, and hope we get something, taken care of in this regard. It's a very, very important subject for everyone in the county. Moving right along. Any other, questions, concerns, coming before this board, from the council? Hearing none. We go to recess 5 minutes, and then
Take a 5 minutes?
we're gonna take a 5 minute, and then we're gonna have, all those who wish to speak, can I see a show of hands who'd like to speak tonight, please? And some of you did earlier. Melissa, you want to speak again, and who else? Someone in the back?
We got a couple of stories.
Well, if there's only a couple.
Yeah, just go right into it.
Okay, if there's a couple, then that.
But if there's a lot, I gotta use the restroom.
Councilman Bozak, did you?
No, I don't want to miss it.
No, we're just waiting.
Oh, I don't know, go here. Once you go for 20 minutes, I just want you to.
Snowball, once one goes, you know.
We're gonna take Andrew, we're gonna take a 3-minute recess.
Yeah, I think it's still like And I went down to the state. And I lived by myself. 20 months. I told myself, I'm going to save $100,000 and that's being very good. Because I was in comments, I didn't see one comment from one of the people. We had legislation in 17 that protected us. They stripped out this legislation from 94 and 65. I just thought, you know what happened? What about the So now they're in the process there, we're gonna have to do something for foundation for plan there. These are pioneers. There. It's on the board. Just barely down. Really unfortunate.
It's interesting.
My daughter's on the water. My daughter, man.
That was cool.
Rode a butter for one. I said, "Goodness, take the water out."
Lights flared.
By the way, no holes.
Really?
Let him talk. You know? My God.
Mayor, the board has seen the press table as well.
Paging Mr. Sim, paging Mr. Sim.
I thought you were calling me up. I'm like, yeah, but that would be such a controversy. We're gonna talk around about it.
When you go to speak, state who you are and where you don't have to use an addresses, you know, just from Union Township, Portage, or in my case, Morgan Township, most beautiful place under, and, come up to the microphone. One person come here, and we'll start on this side to speak. The next person wants to speak from here. This is how they did it at the, RDC meeting. It went very quickly that way, and everybody had to have their say. So who'd like to go first?
Did you say that he's at attendance?
Yes, sir. I know I had a couple of hands up earlier.
And please speak into the mic because we are recording. So that way we heard on YouTube.
Melissa?
Asheville and Shy, it's not something I am, so. John Hurd, Superintendent, Union Township School Corporation, appreciate this opportunity to speak. I've been superintendent there for 20 years. We'll be retiring in 48 days, so who's counting? But this issue is near and dear to my heart. We're here to talk about data centers and how they're going to potentially impact Union Township schools, and I know that that item is not before you today. And hopefully it doesn't make its way to you. If we do our job and what we intend to do, it will get to you. But we are concerned, we've done some reading, we know there are pros and cons to data centers. We know that there is a place for data centers. We just don't believe that that's in Union Township, particularly in the area that it is currently proposed, which is directly across the tracks, directly north of Wheeler High School, Union Township Middle School, where we are completing a roughly $30 million athletic expansion. So, first of all, our concerns are the potential of a TIF district. So we've already heard the tax abatement thing. Those of you who are following legislation know that schools are going to be impacted, as the county is going to be impacted by the bills and legislation that's being going through the process now to eliminate operations dollars. So we are concerned about the loss of revenue. We're also concerned about the environmental concerns, emissions of gases, noise pollution. We know that that's going to affect our property taxes as well. I was speaking with a contractor, construction person, and he reminded me that if we put these data centers where we are anticipating they're going, or where they're proposed to go, we are roughly going to create a dead zone from a residential standpoint, from Sedley Road, 475 west to County Line Road, and from Highway 30 up to north to 130. That's about a third of our township. So our township is roughly 30 square miles. That would represent just under 10 square miles. So that's going to have a huge impact on our school corporation as well. And finally, what I would say before I pass the mic on is I know that if we were before you to try to put a school next to an industrial area, you would have serious concerns about that. I've been before some of you before, and I know that you would be asking me, what are you thinking, right? So what I'm asking respectfully is for you to do the same. Ask, why would we put an industrial area around the school? Thank you.
Hi, thank you. My name is Melissa Green. I'm the lady who emailed you all on Sunday, and I hope you had time to read some of those attachments. I know you just approved one, or ordinances perhaps that might come forth because of industrial areas that are new to the county. I just want to make sure you understand who QTS is and what their parent company, Blackstone, is. They are a $140 billion company set to have an IPO here very shortly. They are going to be flush with cash. There's absolutely no reason that we should give them $1 for anything. $140 billion, and now they're going to have a lot more cash, more than this county spends in an entire year for everything. So, it's a big dog, come to the porch. And I know you're very careful about that. I know you were cautious. I don't know why I was doing that, but I don't want it to be not loud enough, so. We know how the tax abatements go. It's very likely they'll ask for one, maybe even only 10 years. But what you don't understand about their method of development is that Blackstone, the big parent corporation, develops these industrial areas that are hundreds, 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, and basically build 800,000 square foot, 1 million square foot spec buildings that are custom tailored to the many hundreds of companies that they actually own. So what happens is they come in here wanting a tax abatement, but what their little scheme does is they create subtenants of themselves, all collecting rent. So their expenses are very low in doing so. And they start out with a few hundred acres. Let's get a couple more. There's another 300, 400 here. And before you know it, the width of that is way more than the Johnson Farms or Sarah's Creek property. They extend further east, maybe even by another mile, potentially bigger than the area the school board's attorney. And all of those companies are going to want a handout, a tax abatement, something, all of them. So it's not just going to be one, it's going to be many, and it might take 10 years. But they go with a split once they get their foot in the door. They're going to take down every other door they can. Case in point is Kansas City, Missouri. If you Google Blackstone data centers, Kansas City, Missouri, 800,000 square feet that they leased from their parent company, custom built for them. So it doesn't even talk about any bonds that are going to come up for roads. Road improvement, further extension of the Willow Creek Road. Seems a little suspicious that it's already south of 130, but if they're going to want it all the way down, so there's that expense on the taxpayers, not on them. So that you can give tax abatements to a dozen other companies over thousands of acres. As to the fire department, I didn't quite realize that right now, the way it is, the trustees work within the townships for that. I know a young fireman who was part of the inspection crew for the Amazon facility in Portage, and there was an interior area that they were not even allowed to go look at. So, how do you create a fire department for a massive industrial complex with taxpayer money when they have abatements? You can't do it. I mean, they don't even have a ladder to get up to a 140-foot tall building. So how does that work? It doesn't. It's going to be on the taxpayers. Case in point, all over the country the last 2-3 years. This is a new
situation. It's not like Virginia or North Carolina. It's not like those data centers at all. These are 10 times bigger, 12 times bigger. So I don't know, that they might sway anybody to think it's okay because they want to make promises they can't keep because their parent company is so big. They're going to keep asking and keep asking, and literally they'll make this county pay all their overhead in a way because they're just going to get least money for themselves. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
I would use this microphone, because that one has weird, reverb or something, yeah. I didn't hear it on this one.
Okay, my name is Sandy Hill. I live in Township, and I am going to say I do live on 650 West. This is going to greatly affect my family and my neighbor because we are the only two farms that this is going to completely surround. There is nothing else that's going to be there. It's just our two farms. Johnson is getting rid of his farm. Why doesn't he want to be there? Why, oh, what happened there? I think it died. Oh, no, there it goes. It's not back in. My question is, why does he not want to be there? Why is he selling his place? He doesn't want this behind his family, so why should we have it behind ours? My kids grew up in Wheeler. I grew up in Wheeler. We all graduated from there. My son wants to move to Salt Creek. I'm telling him not to right now. I don't want my grandkids to go through this. It breaks my heart to know that this could possibly go there. We don't know what this is going to affect. We don't know what the health issues could be. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie with Julia Roberts, where they're in a little town and people are getting cancer. And it comes out, it's those, I don't even know what they're called, but they're electrical. Do we want to be those guinea pigs and have our kids go through that? We don't know, but I know I don't want my kids or my grandkids to experience this. So I ask you, take that into consideration.
My name's Kyle Duarte. I spoke at the previous meeting and just had one other additional thing I'd like to say. When the Willow Creek project came through, we were told about an overlay and a mile on each side that would stay residential to keep Union Township being residential and not turning it into a commercial place like, Indianapolis Boulevard or anything like that in Lake County. Also, at that same time, we were told about a comprehensive plan for our area. The last one was done in 2001, so we're obviously very outdated. And that was 5 years ago, and we still did not have any start, or have not heard anything about a comprehensive plan. I think before we go forward with any sort of large project like that, you would think you would have that comprehensive plan ready to kind of get a good voice of what the people that are going to be affected by these projects, what they're saying, and like it's in the name, the comprehensive plan, to have a plan to go forward to kind of protect what's special about Union Township and what keeps drawing people there. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I wasn't going to speak, but, should be on, sir. On? Okay. My name is Dan Hallman. I live just across the line in Center Township off of 149, Glenwood Hills. I have a little hobby, a couple hobbies actually, and both of those stem from being somewhat nosy. Okay? One of the hobbies is that I like to go through the Porter County campaign filings of various prominent individuals. Okay? And one thing that I notice is that for certain individuals, they receive generous contributions. Nothing that's going to, make or break them. I think their annual salary, makes that pay them. But they are generous contributions for campaigns. Trade unions, development corporations, construction companies, legal organizations that have to do with those type of things. And what I'm worried about is that there might be some undue influence. I've had some conversations with some trades, craftspeople online, and I can understand where they're coming from. This is big money, big jobs, lots of employment. I mean, they're years worth of construction work. Great, I love that. I'm a strong union advocate, so I want to see local people, local trade unions getting jobs. One thing I do think, though, is I don't think they really care where they're being built. Maybe the Willow Creek extension, that's a specific location, but these data centers don't need to be where they're choosing to put them. I think it's more of a sort of like a they don't like the aesthetics of putting them in a steel mill area, like in the Port of Indiana next to Bethlehem, or the old Bethlehem Steel, or in Gary, something like that. Gary could probably use the whatever revenue to revitalize that community. They might actually welcome it, like they did with the casino and stuff like that. But my point is that I hope that the politicians who are going to be involved in this are not going to let bias with their friendships, their relationships override the will of the people. So that's my concern, okay? And I also am sort of interested, and I've said this before in other meetings, but I'm interested in I don't think there's coincidences in this. There's a lot of things that are going on downstate. There's a lot of things that are going on locally. There's state representatives involved in pushing through state legislation. This is not a surprise in my mind. This is planned. So I'm hoping that you guys take all that into consideration and make your judgments accordingly. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't want to be here, just so we're all clear. I'm in the midst of planning one of my daughter's weddings. I'm not going to let all of this steal my joy, but it is sure working very hard to do so. I am a stone's throw away from where this is being proposed. Both of my older children graduated from Wheeler. I sent them to Wheeler because it is a small community. You are not a number, you are a name. And it is very important to me because I want to know what's going on with my children, my community, and everything around me, including here. Valparaiso is an amazing place to live. I moved here from Lake County 10 years ago when I had a surprise child, which was an amazing thing at my age. But the number one thing about this is this area is full of amazing integrity. And building these particular buildings in this area by this school, whether I live by it or not, is not really good for our community. And if you would take just one moment to think, if you lived where I live, or any of these other people live, would you want it in your backyard? I guarantee you the answer is no. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Me again. My name is David Hyman. I spoke at the last meeting. I live in Union Township. Like she just said, I also don't want to be here. I'd rather be home with my 6-year-old son, my 4-year-old son, my 2-year-old daughter. But the reason why I'm here is because of them. My kids, my oldest attends Union Center. I would plan as life takes us, they will all attend Union Center, and they will all attend Union Township Middle School and Wheeler High School. And as we discuss this hyperscale data center, we just don't know what the effects of this might be. And as many have said, I don't want my kids to be the experiment. I'm going to be that selfish and say, I don't want it to be my kids. And I don't want it to be my friends' kids. These are all my friends out here, most of whom also went to Wheeler and graduated Wheeler. It doesn't make sense. And I get, Mr. Vasquez, I appreciate you calling me yesterday. Red, you called me yesterday. You sent me an email back. I appreciate you guys all responding and letting me know that this council, in layman's terms, doesn't get a say. And I appreciate that. I'm lucky enough to work for a family business, something my great-grandfather started almost 100 years ago. And I have family that I work with, my brother, my sister, and we run completely different departments. But if my brother was considering a decision, and the employees that he's responsible for came to me and said, 19 of his 20 employees came to me and said, we don't want this. I'm not going to tell him how to do his job, but I'm going to let him know how upset these people are. I don't know your guys' relationships with the commissioners. I realize that there's a due process that they have to go through. But if it comes to a decision, if you have a relationship with those commissioners, I urge you to talk to them and understand that your constituents are not happy about this potential idea. And if they aren't listening to us, maybe they'll listen to you. That's all I gotta say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Martha Barnes. I am a business owner here in Valparaiso. I also don't want to be here. I didn't want to be at the meeting before this. I don't want to be at the meeting tomorrow. I don't want to be at the meeting next Tuesday either. But I will be at every single meeting until this is handled. Because my 5-year-old daughter is going to go to Union Center. And I refuse to let her go there if a data center is within 2 miles of the school. I've lived here since I was 4 years old. I had any opportunity to live anywhere in the world, and I chose to come back here, as did my husband, who also served in the Marine Corps, and we both moved back here, moved to Valpo, and the second we could buy a lake house on Shorewood and moved back to Shorewood, that's what we did. My concerns about the data center are being close to the school, of course, but I'm also very concerned about how they plan to cool the equipment. So my understanding is there's 2 different ways, and maybe as Mr. Vasquez said earlier, you're not all firefighters. I am also no engineer, no scientist, no utility expert. But I was under the impression there's 2 ways they can cool it, with water or with air. If it's water, that means they're using even more carbon, or creating even more carbon emissions than they would have if they would have used water. If they're using water, would it affect the entire Salt Creek watershed and all of the water that eventually comes down into the lake, which we have probably the highest concentration of million-dollar homes in maybe the state, maybe just our county, I'm not quite sure, is all around that lake. So what happens, we already need to dredge the lake. So what happens if that water continues to lower? Then is the county going to pay for the lake to be dredged? Because currently that is a major issue within our neighborhood. Or if they're going to cool it with air and create more carbon emissions, where are we going to store the carbon? Are they going to put in a carbon pipeline? Are they going to store it underneath the adjacent farms and eminent domain lands? What are they going to do with all the excess emissions, rather than it just going into Union Center's playground, or Wheeler High School's soccer fields, or the baseball fields we just put a ton of money into, right behind where it's proposed. My other question would be, as our council, where do we get to the point where our commissioners actually start listening to us and say, you know what, just like a solar farm, just like a sports complex, I also do not agree with the data center. So what point do we need to get to where the commissioners are going to say that? And then, so we don't have to talk about this anymore, waste our time, it's a waste of my time. I'm sure these people could be generating more tax revenue for us if they did not have to be sitting here today. So, that would be my question. I mean, I'm willing to overthrow the commissioner, but I don't know if that's a term, but I would love to know if that's possible.
Let's talk after.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, thanks for listening.
Couldn't help it. Just so you know, the commissioners do not answer to us, so we won't be able to answer that question.
Yeah. You might remember, at the beginning of this, I mentioned that we're two separate units. We try not to play in their sandbox, and we ask them not to play in ours.
But we do communicate with them, so
Yes.
they know what's going on tonight, right? It's not a secret, we are talking about it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, my issue is that, first of all, these data centers are huge, and they take a lot of energy. And I know as well as everybody else here that they'll end up getting a break with NISCO, and our NISCO's gone up, what, 60% in the past 2 months? And who's gonna take that brunt when they get these breaks for that? Secondly, we talked about the water. I live on a well, and if they have to use water to cool their system, how is that gonna affect my water table? Am I gonna go dry? Because I don't surely don't wanna do that. I live off 130 in what we call the gray area. It's between Southern Road and the firehouse. I don't get internet cable, I don't get city utilities, I get nothing. But they want to come on here with a data center out there across from my home. So, yeah. And then, as far as employing people, sure, it's going to employ people to build it, which may take, what, 2, 3 years or longer. But in the long run, how many people will it employ, like keep busy to be able to live here? Those are my problems that I have for the data center. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz. I don't think I actually said that last time. I live in Wheeler. I just have a very short note. You mentioned NIPSCO, and it's just a fun fact that Blackstone also owns 19.99% of NIPSCO. So they will be getting a little extra cash on that, so it's a fun fact for everyone. Thank you.
This one is returning.
My name is Meredith White. That's my husband and my daughter that just ran over. I am originally from Hoboken, on McGurky, but my husband convinced me to move to Union Township to be a better cat. We just built a house 2 years ago there. We love it. We're happy there. We're happy with the school system. But just due to the unknown health effects, the low EMF, whatever, we don't know what it's going to cause, that would cause us to move out of the township completely and not send our kids to school there. I'm sure we're not the only ones that feel that way. But it's a pretty big chunk of that land. And I sort of think it would wreck the schools there, and that's a big deal to us. Hopefully it's a big deal to you guys too, but.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice?
Did I
Oh.
See on this side?
Yeah.
I'm like both my phones.
My name is Natalia Galvin, and I actually don't live in Wheeler, I live in Porter Township. But I think it's important to come here, and even though I too want to be with my family and stand in solidarity with our neighbors. We don't want it here. We don't want this for our kids. We don't want it for our adults. We don't want it for our elderly. We don't want it here. And I talked to a councilman on the way, he's like, we're not going to talk about data centers, it's not on our agenda. But we're here. It's important to be here. It's important for everyone to know, whether you're co-equal branches of government or not, or our mayor or Portage is over there. We could all be doing other things. Our sheriff's there. It's important for us to say, we don't want this. You're elected. Hear us. Hear us. We vote. And we're saying, not in our neighborhood, not in our water, they're not our neighbors. And we're going to keep on coming until the message is clear. Thank you.
Yeah, there's an issue about the, not speaking, if I may address that. You're speaking about one councilman who mentioned that to me, and I said, I'm going to do an audible, like in football, and I'm going to let everybody speak. Normally, we don't do that. If it's not on the agenda, we could tell everybody, no. You know, sorry, it's not on the agenda. According to protocol, the way we've done things historically, we could have said no. However, being the volatile situation that it is, a lot of you are really, really concerned. We want you to know that we're here to hear you. And when he mentioned that to me, the councilman down there, or down here, whoever it was, that individual, I said, I'm sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to tell everybody they can speak, and I'm going to let anybody know who speaks up, said they were told by a councilman they couldn't speak because that's not on the agenda. That is how we normally do things. However, in the previous meeting with the Regional Development Commission, they allowed everybody to speak, everybody said their piece with respect toward one another, and that is the primary reason. For those of you who saw the video with Valparaiso, you know how that went. On behalf of the council and myself, I would like to thank everybody for how we all have conducted ourselves, both on that side and this side of the aisle here. And that's very important to us, because we want to be transparent with you, and I know you want transparency. Is there anyone else? Yes, Mr. President. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I spoke at the last meeting, so some of us didn't know. Thank you guys for allowing us this opportunity. I know this is out of the norm. I said before, I think Porter County is a great place to grow up. Councilman Vasquez, you and I may debate the relative merits of Morgan or Union Township.
Morgan, sir.
But I think we can agree, both are very special places, and it's a great place to raise a family. I was sitting in the zoning appeals meeting earlier today, and there was an individual who wanted a variance for his pool. A variance to go from 20 feet tall to 21 feet tall, which was granted, under the condition that no business be run out of that pool. And when you go back and read the minutes of these types of meetings, that's a consistent story. If someone wants to put up a barn on a property without a residence, that's not what we're looking to have in Porter County. If someone wants to run a business out of their barn, out of their residence, that's not what we're looking for in Porter County. So I fail to see how we cannot be looking for that, but be welcoming 1 million square foot of data center directly behind the school. I graduated from Wheeler. I'm excited for my child to graduate from Wheeler. That's her in the back there. But I don't want her going to a school with the data center right behind her. Is this fine to live next to? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But we started building these 2 years ago. And you can't tell me that we know for a fact that it's okay. And I'm not interested in running that experiment on my children.
That's right, thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, anyone else?
I would like to say something. You know, it's interesting, we sit through this, and I've paid attention to the last year, because they try to come to the Newman community, and you heard them come to Chesterton, I watched that meeting, nobody showed up in support of it. Then you saw them try to come to Burns Harbor, my wife was on the town council, they wanted to put it in our backyard, right next to our park. again, people showed up like you guys are, but nobody came in support of it. From Valpo, did anyone show up in support of it? And tonight, no one's here in support of it. So I think our community has spoken, and the message is very clear. If this is going to continue, that we're going to be attacked, not attacked, but approached by both status that are moving to our community, we need to figure out where, if anywhere, in this county would be acceptable. Next to a park, next to a school, obviously not cool. Taking up farmland, that's another concern. So I think you guys are doing the right thing. Again, this isn't the right time for us, but it's important we hear you out. We're hearing it, and it's getting passed on. Obviously, the paper's writing about it. We got a newspaper table. And he's going to be putting together an article as well. So thank you guys for coming out.
Why does it have to be your time? Why don't they put Jasper Pulaski, start cutting lots of farmland out there? Big river,
Hey, that's I'm good with that.
all that money they save and, you know, and cost here, they can put their own power in there. And it would affect none of us. Burnt Harbor said no, Chesterton said no, Bethel said no, and now we are saying no.
Okay, for the third time. Going once, going twice. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Oh, my God.
All those in favor?
Say aye.
Aye.